Have you ever heard that term, if you dream big enough, then the odds don't matter? You know, it's incredibly powerful because it's really easy for us to get caught up in the statistics or the odds of achieving whatever it is that we want to achieve in our lives. We think that because the odds are not in our favor, that we're not capable of achieving greatness. We're not capable of achieving our success. We're constantly being reminded by other people and their opinions and their judgments that because they can't do it, then that means that we can't do it either. Because somebody else has failed at something, then that means that we're not able to succeed at whatever it is that they failed. We let those numbers and we look at those statistics and we let that defeat us in our own minds. Even though it's nothing but numbers. It's not a reality. They're not real things. They're numbers that were compiled because people chased after whatever it was that they wanted to, or what they said that they wanted to achieve. They chased after whatever it was that they saw as being successful. But at some point, for whatever reason, they gave up. But what we fail to realize is more often than not, those people that are those statistics are pointing at a time in those people's lives where they potentially forgot why they started. They have forgotten all about how important something was when they started. You know, when you take that moment of inspiration that you initially get when you get started on a new project or you start pursuing your dreams, you know, that moment of inspiration where everything's clicking, you're in a state of flow, you feel alive. You feel your dream and you feel as though you can touch it and you're already living it. Then when life gets real, when those statistics get real, when those numbers start to take place, then we just give up and we forget the reason why we started to begin with. Welcome back to another episode of Sweat Talk. My name is Chad. Les Brown, he said that you are the message and you are the messenger. You know, you have a message, you have a story, and everybody wants to hear it. We believe that for some reason, since over the course of our lives of all the beatdowns that we've endured, all of the trauma that we've experienced, we believe that for some reason, nobody wants to hear our story. We are so judgmental upon ourselves, and then we get that validation from somebody else that says that we can't do something. We think that that's a reason that we should just quit, give up on our dreams, and lay down. So then we just give up. You know, we give up out of frustration. We give up because life got real. Our dream doesn't be achievable. But the reality is if we just kept going, if we felt deep down inside, and we just felt that initial spark of inspiration that we once had when we first started chasing our dreams. If we were able to reach down and harness that feeling again, it's right over the horizon of that failure. It's right over the horizon of that moment that we felt when we first started. You know, how high is that mountain going to be that you have to climb? Because eventually you're going to get to the top. Eventually you're going to get to the peak of the difficulties that you're going to experience. And when you do that, then it's all going to be downhill. And you're going to be able to feel the inspiration that you once had. You know, I was the same way. I didn't think that anybody would care to hear my story. I didn't think that anybody would see me and my message or me as a messenger with a message. I didn't used to believe that. I didn't think that being a storyteller would ever be able to help anybody or potentially help change people's lives. But I had a dream. And I still have a dream. And I'm living that dream right now as we speak. You know, we don't see the power in the ability of being a storyteller. We don't see the power of being a teacher. You know, have you ever sat there and had a conversation with somebody who is just absolutely incredible at telling stories? You know, it's just captivating. You're drawn into it. You hear every word that they say. You experience and you live every single moment that person is speaking. I've actually experienced this with coworkers. I've experienced this with friends. You know, people that I've just come across over my years. And I remember a couple of months ago, it was one of my coworkers. The guy was telling a story, and I was like, my God, me and another one of my coworkers, my God, that guy knows how to tell a story. His inflection, his timing, the humor that he threw in there. It was absolutely incredible. And I've worked with this guy for years, many, many years, but I never really realized what a powerful storyteller was. And as this guy is sitting there telling me this story, I don't even remember what it was about, but at that moment, man, I was in it. I was absolutely in it. And it was actually one of the most eye-opening moments of my life of the power that storytelling actually has, or that teaching can have. There's not many teachers from my high school years that I actually remember, because most of them weren't teachers. They were instructors that showed up to class to collect a paycheck and put out a lesson. The ones that all they did was take and put notes up on the screen, or write notes up on the chalkboard, or now I'm really aging myself with that one, but on the whiteboard, and they would just sit down at their desk and say, take these notes. So then you take the notes. So then what do you do? What do you do with the notes? You learned absolutely nothing throughout that class. And it's because that person was not a teacher. They were just another person that went to college, got a teaching certificate, and decided that that's what they were going to do, more often than not because they failed at something else, or the degree that they got was absolutely worthless. So the easiest thing they could do was to finish up and go back and get a teaching certificate. If you're good at if you're good at storytelling, if you're a good teacher, there's no reason that you shouldn't be making $1 million a year, because that's one thing that AI will never be able to replace, is the human emotion, the human interaction. That part is 100% necessary to be successful in anything that you do. If there's going to be a successful business in this world, the majority of them are going to be because of that human interaction. But if your heart truly is in storytelling, if you can actually captivate people, if you can get people to listen to what you have to say and listen to your story, no matter what the story is about, it doesn't matter, then you're unstoppable. You are absolutely unstoppable, and the sky is your limit. If you're a teacher, it's the same way. How many people do you know that are living across the internet that are making millions upon millions of dollars a year as a teacher? And it's only because they had the heart of the teacher. People might question their motives. People might question why they're doing it. But the fact remains, they're out there helping millions of people. They're out there helping change lives. Because success it's ultimately defined as what we see it, right? I harp on this all the time, because success doesn't mean that you're wealthy. It does mean for some people, but how about just being comfortable? How about just being able to make enough money to where you don't ever have to worry about putting food on the table. You don't have to worry about the bills or the expenses that are going out. You don't have to worry about the car payment, whether you have a car payment or not. Is that successful? Or is successful just being able to raise a family? Is successful going and getting a marriage, finding a spouse, having a child, and raising a good child for the world? Is successful just being able to live peacefully, even if it's in your car? Is that successful? Or is successful making $10 million a year, living in a mansion, driving a Lamborghini? All of these things are somebody's dream. There are people that want to live in their vehicle. There are people that are completely 100% perfectly content living in their vehicles. Now that's not my definition of success, or that's not my definition of peace. But I can definitely respect that person's opinion, or that person's perspective of living in peace. I can see how that person finds peace by living that way. They don't need the stuff. They don't need the things. They put more value in being alive and in feeling alive and being motivated every single day. And not being tied down to some job, sitting in rush hour and going into cubicle hell every day. Having a Ferrari or having a Lamborghini and living in a mansion, to me, I could give a shit about either one of those. I don't want to take care of them. I don't want the maintenance that comes along with a Lamborghini, and I don't want the maintenance that comes along with a mansion. I don't want to have to hire a housekeeper to wander around my house and clean my house, and I don't want to take care of it myself. So your success and how you achieve your success, it depends on you, and it depends on your dreams. It depends on your perspective. Every one of us has a different definition. Every one of us has a different definition of wealth. And every one of us can experience our own definition of what success and wealth means. Every one of us has that opportunity. We have that ability to experience that, to live that, to be it, and to feel it. But I used to have aspirations of owning a Lamborghini. I used to have aspirations, or dreams, I should say, of living in a mansion. I used to have dreams of owning a yacht, and I used to have dreams of having millions upon millions of dollars. You know, I used to dream about being a deca-millionaire. But at some point in my life, I don't really even know when, at some point in my life, it all changed. And honestly, the last thing you're gonna see parked in my garage is a Lamborghini in my garage that's attached to my house, or the house that my garage is attached to is not going to be a mansion. I don't want it. I have no desire for that. And I think that we dream of having these things or owning these things for status. You know, how many times do you click on social media, or you open up an app, a social media app, and you see some dude sitting in a private jet, or sitting in a Lamborghini, or leaning on a Lamborghini, walking around a mansion. There's a lot of these guys out there. And the only reason why they've got any notoriety, the only reason why they have any sort of following, is because they show off to the world what they might have. And most of them, they don't even own what they're showing off. I mean, some people, they've even admitted it. Yeah, in order to get started, in order to get the picture with that first Lamborghini, I actually went out and I rented it off of Toro or some other place. I went and I rented a mansion for a day on Airbnb so that I could get the pictures and the video taken in there. There's a guy, I can't remember his name, Ty something. Dude's a joke. I saw a video of his recently that he was wandering around a mansion. He claims that it was his mansion. And you know, this place was beautiful, absolutely stunning. It was not his house. There wasn't even any furniture in there. There was nothing in it. Oh, Ty Lopez. Dude's a joke. He's an absolute joke. And for some reason, people want to follow this guy. They don't see how fake he is. They don't see the reality of this person. Now, I don't like to talk bad about people. You know, that's not who I am, but this guy's a joke. And he's figured out a way to make money off of your guys' dreams, off of your guys' backs. For what? You know, what are people actually going to learn from this dude? He's made $1 million teaching people how to make $1 million. Is that how you want to live your life? I have no interest in that. None. Because that's the fastest way to make $1 million, is to teach somebody how to make $1 million. And you know, you see this shit everywhere. Just a bunch of grifters all over the place. Their intentions are piss poor. They're nothing more than scam artists. But the thing is that the easiest way to manipulate somebody else's mind is to show them something that they want, so that they can have that too. And then they're going to tell you that they can teach you how to get that item that you want as well. But when we start something new, it wears off. Eventually that motivation is going to wear off. You know, you think about the job that you're working at right now. At one point in time, when you're hired on, or that job called you with an offer, there was a point in time where you were super excited because you got that job. You were absolutely over the moon because you got that job. And then when you showed up there, you probably came across one of these disgruntled coworkers that does nothing but talk shit about how everything is management's fault, how the place is fucked up because everything around them is falling apart. When the reality is, it's that person's mindset. And then the company doesn't get rid of this person, or the manager doesn't have the stones to stand up to this person that's nothing but a Grinch that wanders around and questions everything because their life is miserable, because they are miserable. And in return, what ends up happening is you become miserable because you're stuck around this miserable person. And then you forget why you started. You forget that passion that you once had. Things become mundane. Lifestyle inflation begins to creep up on you. Even if you're making great money, lifestyle inflation, you cannot out-earn stupid. You cannot out-earn stupid behavior. Arrogance will destroy your life. Ego will destroy your life. You know, from some aspects, ego is actually necessary because it keeps us grounded and keeps us connected. But when your ego is tied to arrogance, you're done for. You know, I'm sure many of you guys have heard of him, the dude that's out and about right now who's just absolutely destroying his own life and now other people are helping him, is Wes Watson. If you haven't heard of Wes Watson and his downfall, his arrogance is destroying his life. He forgot why he started. He's nothing more than a grifter. He's a pile of trash that somehow managed to swindle millions, hundreds of millions of dollars from people. But it's all catching up to him. Karma is coming back at him. And he's continuously making his situation worse and worse and worse because of his arrogance. I mean, arrogance and ego, they're not the same. Ego is necessary. Arrogance will ruin your life. Say you go out and you get a new job. You love your job. You're feeling inspired. This is before the honeymoon wears off. This is before you run into that coworker who's just nothing but a toxic pile of trash. What if, while you're feeling motivated, while you're feeling that moment of inspiration, you started doing some sort of a side hustle? What if you started to create something and you use that moment of flow? You use that moment of inspiration and feeling and emotion to build something for yourself. Because the majority of us, we're going to see 7 careers over the course of our lives. The majority of us, we're not going to settle down in one career or one job. We're going to have several. So what if you were able to sit down and build something that inspires you? Learn how to become a storyteller, learn how to become a teacher, learn how to paint, learn how to play guitar, learn how to get other gigs for playing your guitar. See if there's a band that needs somebody. Start driving Uber Eats. Work your fucking ass off. Work your ass off. And put that money away instead of letting that lifestyle creep or that lifestyle inflation get a hold of you. Take that money and invest it somewhere. Whether it's investing in your own business, investing in the stock market, real estate, whatever. But building something before that honeymoon wears off. Because that honeymoon is going to wear off. I've been in the same career, essentially for the same organization, if you will, for 16 years now. And I've gone through a lot of different cycles. There's moments where I've been like, I hate this shit. But then there's other times where I love what I do. I love my job. And when I say that, I mean it. I love my job. And currently that's where I'm at. I love my job. I love what I do. But ultimately, I would be lying to you if I said if I tried to tell you that there wasn't times where I was like, man, I need to quit this shit. This is ridiculous. Those moments of stress where nothing feels worth it. It simply doesn't feel worth it anymore. And in life in general, it just seems like it's too much. It's consuming. It's all consuming. And when we have that moment of inspiration, if we focus on building something else so that we can overtake in the future those difficult times that are going to come, then we're able to build ourselves up to have fuck you money, right? Boss wants me to come in today, fuck you. Boss wants me to work overtime, fuck you. Boss wants me to work another task, fuck you. And I'm not far from being there. But the only reason why I say this, it's not to flex, has nothing to do with that. It's to inspire and show people that it's possible. Because the odds are not good. The odds aren't good. The odds say that we're not going to. The odds say that we're never going to retire. The odds say that we're never going to get ahead. But that's because we didn't dream big enough. There's a huge difference between our dreams and our goals. We have to have goals. I firmly believe in goals. I believe in small goals and I believe in big ones. I believe in having this gigantic, lofty, massive goal. But I don't believe that that's one that we start at. I don't believe that that's the one that we start chasing. That is the end goal. And then we have our dreams. Our dreams, those are something that we can't let go. Those are something that we can't deny. Goals, if we don't meet the goals, well, it sucks. But we're able to brush ourselves off and start over. The dreams, they won't they won't just vanish. The dreams are going to continuously come back. The dreams are something that you didn't even know they were in your imagination. But somewhere in your imagination, there was those dreams. And they will not let you stop. They are going to continually push you forward. You have those dreams. You have those passions. But I believe that those dreams, they come from a place that's larger than us. Those dreams, they come from a place of gratitude. They come from a place of fulfillment. And ultimately, those dreams, they come from a place of passion. And the craziest thing is, you know, the dreams, they can change. They can change. You know, like I was saying earlier, I used to dream of having a Lamborghini. I used to have a poster of the white Miami Vice Lamborghini Countach up on my wall when I was a little kid. I used to dream of living in a mansion. Now, I could give two shits about either one. I don't want either one. You know, I've said it before. Yeah, I could go out there and I could buy a Lamborghini. I could go buy a mansion if I wanted to. I could pay cash for both of them if I wanted to. Why? So that I can continue to work for the rest of my life? So that I can continue to have a job? Like I said, and I love my job. I love doing what I do. But it's not something that I want to do. I still have a boss. I still have a supervisor that's going to say, hey man, I need you to work some overtime today. I still have things that I have to do that I don't want to do. You know, just like every single one of us. I mean, how many times have you thought about, like, I do not feel like sitting in this cubicle today. I just want to go fishing. I just want to go ride my dirt bike. I just want to go for a hike. That's what dreams are made of in my eyes. That's what dreams are made of in my opinion. That's what my dreams are made of anyway. That's what my idea of success is. Those were the big dreams that ultimately I had, was the dream of freedom and that pursuit of happiness. But that word pursuit, it means that I'm in the chase. It means that I'm currently in the chase. It means that currently I am happy. Currently I'm pursuing that happiness. Ultimately, currently I'm living my dream. And you know, a lot of it is because of you guys as well. You guys are tuning into my YouTube channel. You guys are tuning into my videos and actually watching my videos. You guys are making my storytelling relevant. You are the ones that are making this possible for me. You know, I would be retiring in 4 years regardless. But this is my dream. This is my passion. And I said, screw the odds, because my dream was big enough. So if you made it this far, do me a favor and go in the comments and write those words, dream big. Just those words, dream big. Screw those odds. It's all about the dream. It's all about the dream. And your dream, it can change. Your dreams, in fact, that your dreams will change. But that's going to go right along with your passions. That's going to go right along with your definition of success or wealth or what it is that you want out of your life. But if you allow those people that show up and say, well, I disagree, if you allow them to show up in your life and have any sort of an impact and let their judgments and their opinions dictate your future, you'll never realize any dreams. The only thing is the only dream you'll realize is their dream of achieving nothing. You know, the odds are that most people will not achieve what they want to achieve. The odds are that most people will not retire. The odds are that most people watching these videos won't even stick around to this long. The odds are that most people have actually clicked off within the first 3 minutes because they don't have the attention span. They've given their attention span to AI and the algorithms. They don't even realize it. You know, the odds are that most people don't even subscribe that are watching these videos. But I'm defeating those odds. I'm beating those odds. And I'm doing it with your guys' help. And for that, I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you guys for all those super thanks, the super chats. Thank you. I want to thank you guys for showing up. I hope that you guys are showing up for yourselves. And I hope that each and every one of you has a wonderful day. Peace.